Once upon a time, in a grand old theater, where the curtains never truly closed and the lights never fully dimmed, there lived a puppet. Her name was Mary. Now, Mary wasn't just any puppet. She was beautifully carved from the finest wood, polished until she gleamed beneath the stage lights. Every evening, she would dance for the crowd. Her limbs moved gracefully, her painted smile never faltered. The unseen strings above her guided her every step, pulled carefully by hands that no one ever really noticed. "Oh, look how graceful she is," people would whisper. "She never misses a step. She's always smiling." And night after night, Mary heard their praise. But deep inside, beyond the layers of varnish and beneath the fixed smile, Mary heard something else, a quiet, aching kind of silence. When the curtains fell and the lights finally dimmed, Mary would stare at the empty ceiling and wonder, why do I only move when someone else pulls my strings? What if I want to move differently? What is my step? But each morning, the strings returned, the applause repeated, and so she danced. Then, one night, something strange happened. After the final show, as the last of the audience trickled away, a soft breeze crept through a tiny crack in the theater wall. It brushed across Mary's wooden cheek like a whisper from another world. "You're not made to be controlled," the wind seemed to say. "You were carved to move freely." At first, Mary laughed in her heart. How could a puppet move without strings? Such things weren't possible. But the wind came back the next night, and the next. It didn't pull her, it didn't force her, it simply spoke, gently, patiently, reminding her of something she had long forgotten. Choice. One evening, just before the performance, the puppeteer became frustrated. The strings had tangled. In a moment of carelessness, he left Mary standing alone on the stage. The crowd waited. The strings hung limp. Mary stood still. A hush fell over the theater. Whispers swirled. Confusion turned to irritation. But Mary didn't move, not until she chose to. Slowly, awkwardly at first, she turned her wooden head. Step by uncertain step, she walked off that grand stage, not with perfect grace, not like the performance they expected, but on her own terms. The puppeteer gasped, the crowd murmured in shock, some laughed, some sneered, but Mary did not look back. Outside, the world was nothing like the theater. It was messy, unpredictable. There were no bright lights to flatter her, no scripts to follow, no applause waiting after every move. But the sky stretched wide above her, and the earth beneath her feet felt solid, real. She stumbled, she fell. Without strings to steady her, balance was difficult. But within her, something new began to grow, something far more precious than applause. It was called growth. As she wandered, she met others, broken puppets like her. Some had bravely cut their strings long ago, others still hung by theirs, not yet realizing they had a choice. Mary helped them, gently, patiently, like the wind had done for her. She taught them how to listen to the quiet rhythm within their own hearts, how to move, not for the sake of the crowd, not for approval, but for something far more sacred, the dignity, the voice, and the truth placed deep within them. Years passed. The old theater still stood, but fewer people came. Outside its walls, a new world had bloomed, a world where people moved with purpose, not pressure, where worth wasn't measured by applause, but by authenticity. Mary never returned to the stage, but those who met her spoke of her differently now. She moves more beautifully than any dancer, they said, because every step was her own. And at night, when the wind whispered through the trees, Mary would smile quietly to herself. She was no longer carved for a stage. She had been carved all along by her Creator for truth. The lesson of Mary's story. When others control you, yes, you might impress the crowd, but you risk losing yourself. When you reclaim your freedom, you may stumble, you may fall, but finally you begin to live.